We've been running later than scheduled this evening because of extended coverage of the show jumping from Hickstead earlier today. So Dora O'Brien and Rita Tushingham star in the 60s classic.
As we heard from Robin Oakley at the beginning of the programme, the actions of the Prime Minister last night in his dealings with the Unionists will certainly have reassured Dublin that he's not prepared to do deals behind anybody's back. That's obviously important to the relationship. But also, John Major did tell John Bruton told the Irish Parliament this afternoon that there is a convergence of views emerging. So quite clearly, things are going in the right direction. All the indications are that they're going so well that we could very well have a summit tomorrow, but we still haven't had that phone call and we haven't had the official confirmation.
Leo Enright, thank you. There'll be more on that on Newsnight on BBC2 at 10:30, but that's the 9 o'clock news. Good night.
Good evening. A Coventry pastor has exposed a con man who'd pretended to be severely handicapped. Paul Redhead started attending church services 7 months ago, apparently unable to walk or talk. 2 weeks ago, he stood up in church claiming a miracle had taken place, but not until after hundreds of pounds had been raised for him by local people.
No one was at the address in Earlsdon where Paul Redhead and his so-called carer, Peter Callister, had been staying. Last November, the two appeared in the Coventry Evening Telegraph, claiming they'd been the victims of burglars who'd stolen money saved for a new wheelchair. Mr. Redhead was said to be severely handicapped. Hundreds of pounds was raised by local people, including those at a church attended by both men, who were last seen there 2 Sundays ago. It was then that Paul Redhead got up out of his wheelchair and announced to the 200-strong congregation that he'd been healed. The place erupted with joy.
They phoned me up straight away on holiday, which was, unusual. And you could hear in the background that they were just rejoicing because they'd seen this man in a wheelchair for 7 months. And when the story got out, which was by telephone, because we phoned everybody, that this was a facade, they were saddened. They were sorry for him. They were angry.
Well, it's a bit of a scandal, isn't it? I mean, it's putting the rest of sort of disabled community, it's making us all look like cheats and liars, and it's just really pathetic if, that's what it's about.
It's thought Mr. Redhead and Mr. Callister may have moved to Redditch. It's even suggested that they want to pay the money back. Despite the actions of the two, the congregation at the Pentecostal church remains firm in their trust in charity and their faith in miracles.
A row over plans to expand a bail hostel could end up in the High Court. So far, neighbours of the hostel have successfully opposed the plans, but the Probation Service says that the government has forced it to close some hostels and the expansion of others is the only way to accommodate the huge number of people on remand. 100 jobs are being lost because of restructuring at the British Rail Research Centre in Derby. BR says rail privatisation has led to a marked decrease in the amount of work being commissioned. Meanwhile, in Birmingham, a further 100 jobs are at risk after the collapse of the electrical contractor's Softrad. Receivers were called in after it ran up debts totalling hundreds of thousands of pounds. A Midlands public school has announced it's to introduce drug testing for pupils. Any pupil at Rugby School who falls behind in their work or who fails exams will be forced to undergo the test. The school's headmaster says he wants to tackle drug abuse head-on. Well, on to football now, and Port Vale were playing Leeds this evening and in an important FA Cup fifth-round replay. But look away if you want to watch Match of the Day later tonight. Some other Midland scores in the Ensley League Division 1. Crystal Palace 2, Birmingham City 2, West Bromwich Albion 1, Oldham 0. In Division 2, Shrewsbury 2, Crewe 3, Swansea 2, Walsall 1, and in Division 3, Preston 2, Hereford 2. And if you want Match of the Day, it's at 11:05 tonight.
Good evening to you. Take care and allow a little bit of extra time in the morning, especially in the southern parts of the country. More of that fog around with this area of high pressure easing in from the west. It probably won't last all that long because eventually the high will slip back again, allowing stiffer northwesterly winds to come down, although we still will have frost around. At the moment there's some cloud across the north of the country and the far southwest and southern parts of Ireland, but that probably will be moving away. They also have a little bit of a breeze, but hardly any wind to be found across the rest of the country And that, together with those clear skies, means to say we're going to get the fog and frost. In the northwest of Scotland, you notice there are 1 or 2 showers, but those, I think, will tend to die out as the night goes along, not long before it begins to turn misty. And then we get these patches of fog, freezing fog too, South Midlands, parts of East Anglia, central southern and southeast England towards the end of the night, again along the M4 as it was this morning. Already we're seeing temperatures dipping below freezing, and those temperatures will continue to fall, so by the end of the night quite a sharp frost in many places, -4 to -6, but staying above freezing around a good number of coasts. Tomorrow morning we have that freezing fog to contend with, especially in these more southern and central parts, the odd patch around elsewhere. During the course of the morning I think most of that will thin and clear, and then generally it's going to be a dry day with a good deal of sunshine. Cloud increasing in the north of Scotland, the wind freshening there too, bringing along some outbreaks of rain, and rather more cloudy across that extreme southwestern corner of the country, where again it's going to be fairly breezy. But light winds just about everywhere, the wind picking up in the north. An important wind is this northeasterly though, coming in across East Anglia and Kent, because the North Sea is jolly cold at the moment. Temperatures at best about 2 or 4 degrees, so it's hardly surprising that along that southeastern corner there near the coast it will be quite cold, but elsewhere temperatures eventually struggling up to around normal. Frost to come back again tomorrow night, and some more patches of freezing fog. In the north and the northeast, more breeze and some cloud and lightish spots of rain, and that light rain working its way down other eastern areas on Friday, whereas for the rest of the country, again, we start off with frost and fog. A very good evening to you.
The trouble with men has a surgical answer as BBC2 now goes on the men's ward to meet 4 patients facing their undignified ordeal.
999 International Rescue. Stories of outstanding bravery from around the world. On the Mississippi, a boat plunges into the path of an underwater mincing machine. In China, trapped under a lorry 700 feet down a ravine. And in Australia, hanging by a thread 33 stories above ground. 999 International Rescue tonight at 10:15 on BBC1.
This weekend in the Sculptress, someone's telling lies.
You get used to being seen as a monster. Sometimes I even believe it myself.
Do you know what she really wants you to tell her? What it feels like to kill someone.
If she publishes that book and Olive gets out, we are all finished.
You did kill your mother and your sister, didn't you?
The Sculptress continues this weekend on BBC1.
Our drama of the unexplained comes to a climax now on BBC1 as alien secrets are uncovered, the final episode in this series of The X-Files.